Hey, welcome YouTube. It's nice to be back. It's been a while since my last video. Today, topic is going to be the two most common errors that people do during their energy work. So if you have an energetic practice that you do, Kundalini practice, Qigong or Reiki or Tai Chi or something like that, I think there's two things that I see a lot that people do in their practice, and it creates sort of a glass ceiling for your results. So in the beginning, you'll find and maybe feel energy a lot and feel it moving, and it will be exciting, but then there's going to be sort of a plateau that you hit that is almost impossible to get by over time. And so what I see is, and the first thing is that people, I think, spend and are taught too much to control the direction of the energy. And this can be in a number of ways. You can be maybe told, and a lot of people are told, to try and breathe really hard to drive the energy up their spine, or to visualize and control the energy up their spine, or they're focusing on bringing a lot of energy into a certain point, like their third eye, to try and open their third eye, or you're trying to use the energy to open a chakra or something, or move the energy down the meridians, whatever. There's a lot of different things that people do where the person's will and ego are in charge of the energy. And I find in the beginning that is very helpful. This is how I started my practice as well. It definitely helps your mind, buy into the process and believe in the process and understand it a little bit better. And it gets you excited, which helps keep your forward momentum. But after a while, that really limits your further potential in practice, potential within the practice. And the reason is that your energetic system has its own sort of operating instructions that it follows. It's like your immune system or your digestive system. They work without you having to get in the way. They do their own thing, and you just allow that to happen, and it happens naturally. And so your energetic system is built with a series of feedback mechanisms and energetic pumps to push energy up through certain channels or in certain directions when the conditions within the energetic systems are appropriate for it to do so. And if the energy is not moving in a certain way, it's because it's not ready for that yet. But we're taught, we've got to force, we've got to control, we've got to drill, we've got to master and make that go where we want. But I think that definitely does limit long-term results, because part of trying to do energy work, whatever your practice is, and clearing the energetic channels in your body, the deeper the cleansing that you get, the whole point of this is to become elevate your state of consciousness and become a more loving being. And the more you elevate your consciousness, the more aware you become. That in itself leads to a greater capacity, and asks you to surrender more, to have more faith, to have more trust, to connect with the divine or your higher self and surrender into that. And the more you are in the mindset of being forceful and controlling and directing and pushing the energy, the more you are not in that place of surrender and trust and allowance. And so that is actually, and in the end, antithesis to where you want to end up in your practice. So that's number one. I think in the beginning stages, very good to help sort of direct and control the energy and feel like you're a conscious participant in it, which you are. But there should be a point in your energetic work, especially if you're going for something like Kundalini awakening, where you should start to notice that the energy starts to do its own thing. It starts to move in certain ways independent of your conscious control. So when you control the energy, you direct your will and your awareness maybe down your arm, and then you feel the energy flowing and following your awareness. When the energy works on its own, it will shoot and move quickly, and it will happen independent of your mind and your awareness. And then you will notice afterwards, you'll look and you'll be like, oh my God, that I didn't have any control over that. That just happened on its own. So at some point in your process, that energy should start to do something on its own. And that's when you have to start to learn to surrender to that and start to back off the direction and the forceful breathing and the control that you're putting into it, and just allow it to happen. Okay, so that's number one. Too much time controlling the energy and not allowing the surrender. The second thing, and I don't think this is it may not be an error as such, it's not so much common knowledge that people are aware of it, is that the energy that you need to build up within your system for something like Kundalini awakening or spiritual awakening, the energy is really, really dense. It's really, really strong, and it's extremely forceful. And when you start to begin into energy work with like Reiki and Tai Chi and that kind of stuff, you feel energetic sensations, tingling, maybe heat, maybe movement of cold or heat through your body or pressure or something like that. But at the early stages, it's a very diffuse type of energy. Think of the energy as it having like different states of matter. So if you take water, there's water like vapor, and then there's solid water, and then there's ice, right? It's all the same thing, but there's just more condensed versions of it. And that's the same thing with energy work. And between the energy being very ethereal on one side and almost completely solid on the other side, you have to learn over time to be able to concentrate and condense that energy, and concentrate it and condense it and keep condensing it until it becomes more and more physical. So it becomes more solid and more forceful. So when it moves through your body, it doesn't feel like a gentle tingle or a goosebumps anymore. It feels thick. It feels physical, like it's when it pushes up through your organs, you can feel your organs moving out of the way, or when it pushes up your spine, you feel it readjusting and cracking your vertebrae and moving things in a way that supports the direction of the energy flow. And the risk here, of course, is that when the energy gets very condensed and strong and forceful, if it can't get by a certain area, then it starts to hurt and get painful. But there's ways around that. But that's the thing, I think, where people get stuck and they get a ceiling on their energetic work or energy practice, where they just leave the energy as a gentle tingle. And there are ways to condense the energy and different techniques for that, which is not the purpose of this video, but that is, I would think, one of the main things that then leads back into number one, because the more dense the energy is, the more physicalized it becomes, the stronger it gets, the greater capacity it will have, and the more pressure it will build up, so it will start to move on its own. And so the first one is sort of dependent a little bit upon the second one. So that's what I see. And, when I'm just looking at different techniques and different ways people do their energy work, and just in terms of my own experience and my own practice, there is a point where you have to surrender to the energy and just let it do its thing. At the same time, you have to sort of participate in the process and condense that energy and get it stronger and more intense, so it can do more work on its own, more of that deep purification, that deep cleansing, to really open up your energy channels and get the flow of energy going. Okay, so that's it. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please put them down below, and thank you very much for watching.